The world is a global village.
And that's because information travels beyond boundaries.
And on This Morning on ITV,
we guarantee unbiased analysis on topical issues
that will educate you,
entertain you.
So join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Every Sunday to Thursday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on your ultimate news and current affairs program on television. This Morning on ITV, TMI. Join us. Thanks again for joining me on the program TMI Monday. Of course, on our last interview segment on the show, this beautiful Monday. And we've got a guest from Warri in Delta State. I've been on him for the past 2 weeks to get him here on set. It's not been easy, but all of that is in history now because he's finally here on the show. We're talking about the president worldwide of Ijaw Youth Council of Nigeria, Barrister Perotubo Owelaimi. We're glad to have you on the show, TMI Monday on independent television.
It's my pleasure to be with you here.
Okay. He's also the President General of Association of All Ethnic Nationalities in Nigeria at the youth level. Congratulations on that new feat again.
Thank you very much. It's actually the President General of Ethnic Nationalities in Niger Delta.
Niger Delta.
Not Nigeria.
Not Nigeria. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Well, the Niger Delta has continually been a hotbed because of militant activities, and then of course, which of course seems to have impact on Nigeria's source of mainstay, which is the crude oil. And then of course, you also have, you know, leadership squabbles either at the youth level or even at the elders level, as it were. So we're looking at sustainable peace in the Niger Delta. How has it been for you, you know, finding yourself with this onerous responsibility of being at the center of all of these as the president of Ijaw Youth Council?
Yeah, it's quite enormous, but of course you know that for those of us that are born and brought up in the Niger Delta, we are capable, we are ready to serve the Ijaw nation, and in spite of the challenges we are facing today, by the grace of God, we will come out of it, and whether at the youth level or at the leadership level, we will come out of it. At the end of the day, the Nigerian state will know that, yes, the Ijaw nation, the Niger Delta people, we are united. About 2 days ago, I returned from Abuja because of some family issues between our famous leader, who is the head of the PANDEF, and some other Niger Delta stakeholders and leaders on who is leading. And I've listened to all the parties. I meant to meet with my father and my national leader, the Ike Clark, and we are talking as brothers, as the same people. It's a family matter, and then we'll resolve it amicably. We'll come out of it. Even at the youth level, we don't have much problem because you are aware that after my elections, where I emerged as president at Okreka, where you will agree with me that for the first time, all the past presidents of the Ijaw Youth Council worldwide were at the venue I emerged as president of the Ijaw Youth Council. It has never happened. You had stakeholders like Tito Ogoriba, who is the founder of Ijaw Youth Council, is Elder Tito Ogoriba. You have the likes of High Chief Tom Ateke. Asare was personally there. Asare Dokubo, who is our leader, is also a past president. Dr. Felix Todolo, who is essay to the governor of Bayelsa State on Ijaw Niger Delta matters. All the people that you can think of in Ijaw nation were there where I became president. And thereafter, we had some people that were not too pleased with the situation. So the governor and Ijaw leaders, in their wisdom, set up a committee called the Eminent Persons Committee to look at the issues, because we cannot be divided as at this time. Yeah. So they look at the situation, and the committee came up with their report to say that yes, the processes that brought me to become the president is the genuine and the authentic president. And they didn't stop at there. They took the report, then moved all of us to Abuja to say this to our national leader, Ike Clark. And it was further reaffirmed that yes, my ESCO that I'm leading as a president is the genuine ESCO, the authentic ESCO that should lead the Ijaw youth for in the next 3 years, and that is the mandate I have on behalf of the Ijaw people.
All right. all of these we know is always been towards sustainable peace in the Niger Delta.
Yes.
But it looks like despite all of these efforts to ensure there is peace and tranquility in the Niger Delta, there's always one issue or the other at every point in time. Recently, there was an ambush on military personnel in which some soldier was alleged to have been killed. And then, of course, there was a brazen attack on the part of the... So how do you look at all of these issues that are emanating from the region despite efforts to ensure that all of these things are nipped in the bud?
Yeah, that is an unfortunate act. We, as people, as president of the Joint Council, we have condemned it a day after the incident. We condemn it in its entirety. It's a bad omen that is coming up at this time. You know, of course, you know that the other time we had a similar situation in Bubagwene community in Brutu local government where I come from. So I immediately moved into action, met with the military high rank, and they had a series of meetings with them before we were able to resolve that matter. We have always promised the military and the security agencies that we are ready to work with them. We are ready to partner with them. This is a pocket of criminals that you have in everywhere. You have in everywhere. It's not peculiar to the Niger Delta. Niger Delta are peaceful people. We are hospitable people. But that does not take away the fact that you may have one or two persons who are doing some of these things, and we are not happy about it. We are working with the security agencies to ensure that these people, these criminal elements, are isolated from the communities. But you know, when things like this happen, sometimes the military action is overboard. You know, when one person or two persons are involved in some criminal activities and the military move into to bring down the entire community, it's not professional enough. What is expected of the military or other security agencies to ensure that you fish out these individuals and deal with them accordingly?
How possible are those individuals to be fished out when, for example, it looks like maybe the people in those communities try to offer protection or shield these people?
No. The Joe people are not known for that. The Niger Delta people are not known for that. Particularly the flank that I am the president of the Joe Youth Council. I interface with the youths. We have our structures. I'm the national president. We have zonal structures. We have clan structures. We have community structures. So I can stay in Abuja and talk to people, my people in the villages, in the communities, in the clans, and tell them this is what is happening in Lodupene, this is what is happening in Torubene community, this is what is happening in Ojobo community. So let's put our ass together and fish out these people. We can only do this if the military is ready, willing, and acceptable to work with us. The military work with us. We are the same people. We live together. Even if it's a stranger comes to commit havoc in a community, before you leave, if we are united, we can fish them out. But the challenge is that in most cases, I'm sorry to say it, the military in their training is not always willing to work with the civilians. But civilians, as we are, can provide useful solutions. By virtue of my position as president of the Joy Youth Council, I know almost all the Niger Delta terrain, particularly the Joy area. I can be sleeping in my bedroom and something is happening in one community, and I make one or two telephone calls, and we are likely to get out of that situation. Okay. So I'm appealing to the military. It's unfortunate that that kind of things are reoccurring in some of our communities, but we need to work together more. We need to be on the same page so that we can help the military, the security agencies, to ensure that we nip these acts on the board, and so that we don't experience further occurrence of such ugly incidents.
Okay, you know, over the years, there have been key issues as it relates to development of the Niger Delta. Against the background, like they say, I mean, the geese that lays the golden egg, that seems to be elusive. You still go to the Niger Delta, despite the fact that the resources on which this country thrives on is coming from the Niger Delta. You find the challenge of bad roads, poor infrastructure generally. These things are still prevalent. How do you think we can achieve sustainable development in the Niger Delta, obviously when peace is elusive against the background of all of these, you know, altercations that are coming up every now and then?
Yeah, that's a huge problem, because we've been talking about one form of meeting or the other, one form of commission, agency or the other, designed to attend or tackle the problems of the Niger Delta. But we have not seen enough on the ground. We are still talking about the problems our fathers talked about some 50 years ago. We are still talking about the problems our hero, Jasper Adekaboro, talked about We are still talking about the problems our frontline leaders have talked about 50 years ago. Those are the same problems I am talking about here. So from every indication, we think that government at different levels is not sincere about developing the Niger Delta, who lays the golden egg. We have the oil everywhere, but we are denied of opportunities. We don't have anything. So that's why we are saying that what we want now is resource control and self-determination, and that can be fused into true federalism. If we have control over our resources, we can do this ourselves. We don't need anybody, any outsiders to come and do it, but we must be allowed to control our resources so that we can do this ourselves. So the bane, the panacea to peace in the Niger Delta, that we should be allowed, as a region, we should be allowed to control our resources. When we are in charge of the resources, yes, that is coming from our region, we control our resources. Whatever it is, we sell our oil, and possibly we pay part of it, a percentage, to the center. We are not asking to leave Nigeria as of today. We are part of Nigeria. We believe in the unity of this country, but that we must be allowed to control our resources.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how feasible is this against the background that quite a huge number of leaders in the region, they benefited from this seeming lopsided in the structure of Nigeria. Take, for example, at the height of the militant activities, what some leaders in the region will describe otherwise. Some people who were in the creeks had access to Abuja. Today, they are wealthy, they are billionaires, they are very successful, and all of those same agitation, these same issues that you talked about were the campaign, lines for leaders of the region of yesteryears. Those challenges are still there, yes, today. Yes, isn't this a betrayal of trust on the part of some of these leaders?
Yeah, you have this kind of situation in every clan, but it might just take time, but it's achievable. We will achieve it, we will get there some days. You have a pocket of element of betrayal in every community, but we are talking to ourselves. In our situation, we are in agreement. Everybody in the Niger Delta, particularly job people, are in agreement. You might have one or two dissenting voices, but that is not the thinking of the job people. That is not the thinking of the Niger Delta people. It may take us some time, but it's a struggle, it's an agitation that will continue to agitate for resource control peacefully, without violence. We will ask for our proper place because we are equal stakeholders in this country, and we will continue to do this until we get there. It may just take a couple of time, but we are very optimistic, we are certain, and we are sure that someday, one day, we will get to the promised land.
All right, if you just join us, the program is This Morning on ITV. I've been talking with Barrister Perotogbo Owelami, who is the president of Ijo Youth Council of Nigeria, sharing some thoughts with us on sustainable peace in the Niger Delta region. Today, a whole lot is happening in the region that, of course, is attracting attention. But it looks like what is most dominant in the national space is the issue of restructuring. And you said, well, just now, as a body, you're not talking about seceding from Nigeria, still a part and parcel of Nigeria, but you're talking about resource control and then devolution of power. Can you expatiate more on that?
Yeah, we believe in the corporate entity of Nigeria. We are not talking about succession. We are not talking about leaving Nigeria. We are part and parcel of Nigeria. But that's one or two things must be met for us to continue to exist as corporate entities in the country called Nigeria. And one of these key things we are talking about that is at the front burner is restructuring. Restructuring simply means that we are having issues. It's like a family. Yourself, your wife, and your children. That one of your 5 years or 10 years child is saying, Daddy, I need to talk to you. I'm having some challenges. And it's expected of you to listen to that, to hear from that child. That is the situation we are in Nigeria, the Niger Delta people. We are simply saying that we want to talk to the authorities in this country. We are having challenges. We want this and that to happen. Of course, you will agree with me that restructuring is not synonymous. It's not peculiar to the Niger Delta. It's not peculiar to the job people. We are not the only people talking about restructuring. Atiku is talking about restructuring. IBB is talking about restructuring. Other former leaders are saying that it's high time we sit down together as a people and redesign this country called Nigeria. It's like you want to build a house today, that you must have the design, you must have the engineering plan. You know, the foundation is faulty. As at the time the Nigeria was formed in the 60s, our forefathers were not part of the discussion processes. They were just called to say, this is the country called Nigeria and come and be part of it. That foundation is faulty. Of course, when a foundation of a house is faulty, it's bound to collapse anytime. And if proper measures are not taken now, one day, God forbid, that we don't know where we will be. That's why we're asking that, please let's sit down and discuss to ourselves. This is what we want. Every region, every state, almost every region in this country has one form of mineral resources or the other in this country. Not only oil. It's because the system, politicians have decided to politicize oil. That's why it looks as if it's only oil that is the instinct in Nigeria. You have other minerals in other parts of the country. So we begin to wonder when one day oil will dry up in the Niger Delta and we will be left alone. And we don't want to experience that situation. That's why we are saying that let us sit down and reorganize, unbundle and reorganize this country called Nigeria, so that we will be entitled to controlling our resources and do what we feel we should do with that. We don't want to have the Olobiri experience. If you go to Olobiri now, where oil was first struck and discovered in the 60s, in this country is a graveyard. Nothing is happening there. When the oil is finished, this country will abandon the Ijaw people, this country will abandon the Niger Delta people. And that is what we are guiding against today. And that is why we are asking to sit down with this government to discuss the future of Nigeria and Ijaw people.
There are those who doubt your talk that you're not against disintegration, you're not against succeeding from Nigeria. When, for example, recently there was a voice in the Niger Delta that gave an ultimatum to northerners in the Niger Delta, the Yorubas in the Niger Delta, to quit.
Yeah, that's part of the grievances some people are experiencing. That's grievances. That's why you may not expect others to talk the way I'm talking. As the faces are different, the degree of anger differs with people. That's why you can see that some people are saying that, oh, certain people in the Niger Delta should leave, they should not leave, some people should not come. It's the height of anger, it's the height of frustration in people in the Niger Delta, and it's everywhere. You are aware of the quick notice that was given to the Igbos by the Ariwa youth wing. If government does not come to sit down and genuinely listen to the agitation, the yearning of the people, we are bound to hear more of these notices, and I pray we don't get there. People are disgruntled, people are angry, people are hungry, people are frustrated, people don't have food to eat, they don't have employment, they don't have anything to do. And that's why you hear everybody wake up in the morning and you say this, saying, but as a people, as a united family, as a Ijaw people, as a Niger Delta people, as at today, we are not talking about leaving Nigeria. But one or two persons are saying this because they are hungry, they may not have faith in Nigeria, and that's why they are saying all that they are saying.
In the Niger Delta, why is it that it looks like militancy is more associated with the Ijaw people compared to any other tribe in the Niger Delta?
It's a very bad impression. It's not correct. Militancy is not in our character. We Ijaw people are not militants. Is politics that politicians play to paint the Niger Delta region in a bad light to scare away investors, to scare away businessmen. It's not absolutely correct to say that we Ijaw people are militants. You may, like I said, you may have a couple of church persons, but that does not necessarily mean that anytime there is an act of militancy in the Niger Delta, that is an Ijaw person. It's not true. It's not true. It's anywhere you have militancy, anywhere you have incidents of militancy, the person is an Ijaw person. It's unfounded. So I correct that impression. It's my responsibility to correct that impression. But that people are aggrieved, people are angry, and you are likely to see a pocket of some unruly behaviors, and that is just the situation. It can be managed. You have these kind of things everywhere. You have them in cities like Lagos and Abuja. Pocket of them. It's not peculiar to the Niger Delta region, and that's why we are asking for resource control. When you have resource control, everybody has one thing or the other to do. And when people are gainfully employed, when you are used are gainfully employed, you don't have the time to go and involve in anti-social vices like militancy and other things. But to say that militancy is peculiar to job people is not true, is not correct.
There seems to be some alleged level of alignment between leaders, some leaders in the Niger Delta and then in the southeast, particularly with the emergence of Nnamdi Kanu, certain Nnamdi Kanu as the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. What do you make of these alleged alignments, working together and stuff like that between some leaders in the Niger Delta and then in the southeast?
Yeah, the southeast, particularly Nnamdi Kanu, the IPOB, is of course, there's a freedom of speech. As we are agitating for resource control, they are asking for Republic of Biafra. It's within their powers to ask for, and we are sympathetic to it. We encourage them. We pray for them to succeed by the grace of God. But we are people from the...
If you say, for example, you are sympathetic to it, you are praying for them to succeed,
yes.
Wouldn't that be different from what you said a while ago, that you are against succession, as it were?
No, if your neighbor is your next door neighbor comes to tell you that this 2-bedroom apartment that I'm living is too small for me, and I'm praying out to get a duplex to live somewhere or a bungalow to live somewhere, won't you pray for the person?
Okay, I'll pause you there, Barrister Henry. I'll come back in a moment after the news update so we can talk more with Barrister Welaimi, who is the president of Ijo Youth Council of Nigeria, looking at sustainable peace in the Niger Delta.
Thank you very much.
Now, we paused a little bit on the issue of the agitation by Biafrans.
Yes.
And then I remember that you said, or I reminded you that you said, on your part, you're not against succeeding from Nigeria, but you are tacitly in support of the aspirations of the Biafran people. How do you reconcile both?
Yeah, that's why I was trying to draw the analogy that you have a neighbor that was living in a 2-bedroom apartment in your neighborhood and woke up one day to come to you to say that, my neighbor, I am moving on. And I don't think that my 2-bedroom apartment I've been living in for the past 50 years is no longer conducive for me, that I want to move on. I think the best any good neighbor should do is to say, I pray for you to acquire a bigger apartment. I think that is the scenario now. We can't wish them anything less than good luck, in as much as we are not part of it. That is not the position of the Ijaw people today. That is not the position of the Niger Delta people today. But we feel their pains. We are aware of why they get to that level. So that is the situation. That's just what I mean by that. Of course, you will agree with me that the Niger Delta struggle predates Biafra. The Niger Delta struggle predates Biafra. So we are not. But we wish them all the best.
Okay. In your assessment of the situation in Nigeria, based on all of these agitations, what does it hold for the future of this country?
The future of this country, I must tell you, is very shaky. Some people have forecasted that Nigeria may not see 2019. Some people have said so many things that we may not be together till 2019. Some people have gone ahead to say that we must sit down to discuss the future of this country before 2019. And we also belong to that class, that school of thought. We are also of the opinion that if we must live together, we must listen to each other. We must talk to each other. And I wonder where we will get to if we don't talk to each other. I cannot tell you that I'm hungry, I have some complaints, I want to tell you some things, and somebody is bluffing me as if you are superior. Nobody is superior to anybody in this country. We are equal stakeholders in this country. As a matter of fact, we said in our intro that we lay the golden egg, the economy, the lifespan of this country. And somebody is saying that no, we will not listen to you, no matter how angry you are, no matter how upset you are, nobody will listen. If you don't listen, then whatever that happens, it's history. So that's why it's important that we must sit down and discuss the fate of this country.
Okay.
And it's key we sit down and talk about it.
All right. On the final note, what are your parting words in terms of sustainable peace in the Niger Delta in view of the roles that each of the stakeholders need to play? Because some say there is a new thrust of getting some new leaders to drive the Niger Delta agenda.
Yes.
Some say, well, those who have been there all this while, all these years, to what extent have they really impacted the Niger Delta people? Looks like, according to them, all they've been there for is for their own personal aggrandizement. So how do you distill all of this together in terms of taking Niger Delta forward?
Yes, whatever challenges we have as a people, we will surmount it, we will come out of it. These are in-house problems, and if a group of people are agitated, as at today, the foremost body that is in charge of negotiating on behalf of the Niger Delta people is the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, which is led by Pa Ike Clark. You don't need to, that does not mean that there are no other prominent leaders, there are no other prominent groups. The Pan-Niger Delta group is there before I'm talking here as president of the Joy Youth Council. We have some other organizations. Sometimes you don't even need to be a member of IYC or a member of PANDEV to air your view. In as much as you have the just spirit, in as much as you have the spirit of the Niger Delta, the unity of this country, you can say it anywhere and you have superior agreement, it will follow. So some people are saying that, oh, these people shouldn't be talking on behalf of us again, these people should, it's a decision that the Niger Delta people will take. It's a decision that the job people will take if it has to do with the job people. But if it's a Niger Delta decision, it's a collective decision that we will take. And I hope and I pray that whatever challenges we have, we will come out of it, we will come out better and stronger to face the challenges ahead of us. And I want to also use this medium to also appeal to the governor of Edo State. We have our brothers here, we have the Jaws here. They are in minority, and we are aware of their challenges here. I'm appealing to the government of the state in Edo State to ensure that the job people are taken along in the government here, so that we will continue to live together as one people.
All right, thank you very much. I've been talking with Barrister Perotubo Owelaimi, who is the president of Ijo Youth Council of Nigeria, sharing some thought with us on what can be done to ensure sustainable peace in the Niger Delta. And I'm sure that if some of these thoughts are well articulated and then, of course, adhered to, we can have meaningful development in the Niger Delta in the nearest future. All of the hostilities that we'll see every now and then will be a thing of the past. Barrister Owelaimi, many thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Next time we'll call, I hope you're obliged.
I will always be here.
All right, that's our program today. This morning on ITV, but we call it TMI. You know it as This Morning on ITV. We thank you for sharing your time with us this beautiful Monday. It's a public holiday to mark the Eid al-Kabir celebration. We felicitate with all our Muslim brothers and sisters out there, and we wish you happy celebration. It's our prayers that this celebration will bring continued peace and tranquility to Nigeria for sustainable development, because no meaningful development can actually take place in an atmosphere devoid of peace. My name is Sonny Duke Okosun. On behalf of the entire production team, thank you so much for staying with us. Bye for now.